Hey, this is Home Buying Uncensored. I am Mona Wong.
And I'm Brian Denton.
We're here to talk to you about home buying with real talk.
None of this mortgage speak. We're going to make things real simple for you.
And guys, I'm actually kind of funny.
Yeah, she's really not that funny.
All right, well, you try us out and let us know. This is Mortgage with Mona, and I'm here with the old mortgage guy. Say hi, old guy.
Hey, my name's Brian Denton, in case you forgot.
Speaking of dementia, I was thinking we should share our first purchase stories as a buyer, because that's a different perspective.
It really is.
And especially from your perspective, because when you bought your first house, was there a fire?
A fire?
Was there fire? Was fire invented yet at that point? Was there a wheel?
No, the onset of the colored TV was just coming into to play.
That's amazing. Tell us about your first time buying, Brian. I want to hear your story, like how you got yourself ready for it, how much you paid for your first place.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I think I had to remember. Um, my first house was a small front to back split in Brockton, Massachusetts.
What year was it?
1986. I was 26 years old.
I was 12.
The house was listed for $102,000, and I paid $101,500 for it. That's how competitive the market was at that time. The cool thing I remember about it was I put 5% down. I had PMI, but interest rates were sky high back then. I mean, they were just starting to come back down, but I think fixed rates were in the 16 or 17% range at the time.
Which is like a credit card.
Yeah, so absolutely.
It's like buying your house with a credit card.
And I had opted for a 1 year adjustable because that was the only thing I could qualify for. Back in the day, they didn't, not to get too much into the weeds, but they didn't underwrite you at the fully indexed rate. They just whatever the start rate was is what you qualified on. So it was 11.5%, and I paid one discount point to be at 11.5%.
Damn.
And my mortgage payment was like, with taxes and insurance, was like $1,200 a month.
Okay, like I mean, well, for now, that's really cheap.
High for at the time, but I was paying 450 to rent.
What was your income? What was your salary at that time?
I believe between me, I was like 35,000, and Lynn was like 25,000.
Can you imagine to be a dual income family and combined you were making less than $60,000?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Were you hungry all the time?
No, I mean we didn't, not until we started having kids is when we really felt the crunch because Lynn, we couldn't go to work. Lynn couldn't go to work. Definitely when she was bedridden the last 2 months
Yeah.
before Justine was born, and it was just a crazy time. But we just were much better off. But the tax laws were different too back then. So
How did you come up with the down payment?
got a gift from my uncle.
Wow. So you were lucky.
I was. I had some of the down payment. I had paid for the closing costs, but you got to realize that it's just out of the Air Force. 19, a couple of years out of the Air Force.
Were you able to use a VA loan?
No, nobody wanted to do VA loans back then. I could have used my VA benefit, but nobody wanted to do them.
That's a different story.
It was a very different time,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if they saw a VA loan, it was like, no way. I didn't use my VA loan until I moved to Florida. Well, I paid cash for my house in Florida. Then I refinanced to get my money back out, and I used a VA loan to do it.
When Kevin and I bought our first place, it was a 900 square feet, one bedroom condo. And my bedroom was huge because it was half of the, so it was like my bedroom itself was like 400 square feet, I think. And I was so excited because I was finally able to have a TV in my room. And the TV was a 13-inch Sony. So I really couldn't see the TV, but it was in my room and I was really excited about that. But that was in 2001 and my interest rate, and it was a fixed, was at 9 3/4. So it was still really, really high.
That was a fixed rate, 9 3/4.
Yeah, it was a fixed rate at 9 and 3 quarters in 2001, or maybe it was 2000 actually. I think it was 2000. But yeah, we wouldn't have had the down payment without the help of my father-in-law.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's still even and so now fast forward 2025, a lot of first-time homebuyers can't buy without a gift from family. It's like the ongoing theme.
well, I think it's all relative. When people, it really kills me when people say, well, interest rates are still historically on the low side. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a false comparative because prices are so much higher. Yeah, I paid 11.5% on my rate and you paid 9 and 3 quarters. But what is that condo worth today? Because I looked up my first house online at Zillow and it's worth like 550 grand now for a 1,000 square foot house.
Right, right. Mine was I think I paid 128,000, and now I wanna say I think it's like in the 3 like 3 to 400, and then when we upgraded to a, new house, we sold the condo. Like, I went through the fears again of, "Holy crap, my mortgage payment's going up, how are we gonna do this?" And it was really scary.
It really is. I mean, but I think that's sometimes as mortgage loan officers, we forget how stressful it is to buy a home.
Well, I wasn't even in the business then when I bought my first place. I had no
I
idea.
was, I was,
Totally.
I was an
Oh my
underwriter.
god. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Wow. So you at least had an idea. You had an right, and that's right, that's my point. Even though you were in the business, you were still stressed out about it.
yeah. And I think that's always my goal, and I know it's always your goal, is to try and take a lot of that stress off of our buyers, and because we know because we've experienced it ourselves that it's a very very stressful time. Regardless, you're excited about buying your first home, but it's like you got about 20 different moving parts that add to your stress.
Oh, but the biggest piece is now you have this 30-year debt on you and you have this mortgage payment and you're like, "Oh my god, am I gonna starve? Am I gonna be living off of peanut butter? Am I living off of ramen? Are my intestines gonna clog up because I'm only eating ramen all the time?" Like, there are so many thoughts that goes through my mind, even now.
It's really hard for a buyer or to get into this market. Number one, but number two is if we can make it less stressful because it is attainable. And I think the thing is, you do have those nerves, Mona. You do have those nerves. You still, I mean, even if I bought a house now, and I bought my house up here in Rhode Island, I still was stressed out. I mean, and I've been in the business 40 years. It's still a stressful situation.
I get stressed out when I, like, refinance myself because I I had this fear of being rejected. I mean, what I knew I wasn't going to be rejected. Like intellectually, I knew that, but like you just emotionally, you're just like, oh my God, what if they don't approve me? Then I'm just a loser. I don't know. Like you have this fear, but totally. And like, I totally trusted. I threw all of my trust into my mortgage broker when I bought my first place and just did everything he asked and just kind of like went with it and luckily I was working with somebody who was honest and did take care of me despite the 9.75. But what can you do? The rate is the rate, right? And it's neither here or there anymore. um 30 years later, I'm not even in that same place, so I don't even care what that mortgage rate was.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And that's the other thing, people are so fixated on the rate, and it's like, but like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, like, it doesn't even matter what that rate was because it's not gonna be the same.
The average length of a mortgage, even on a 30-year fixed rate loan, is I think it's up to maybe 11 years now because rates went down in the twos. But for years and years, and I mean at least a couple decades, the average length of a mortgage from open to when they got paid off was only like 8 years, 7 years.
7 to 8 years, and you're either gonna refinance it or sell your property for one reason or another.
Yeah, you might have kids in the meantime. You might outgrow the place, or you might have plenty of house and need money to for college, or you want to add a room. I mean, there's a bunch of different reasons why mortgages get paid off. So right now we're in a real phenomenon where rates were at 2%, and now they're up in the high sixes, low sevens currently. Depending on the factors that go and get involved. I mean, it's a very stressful time. That's just it. I mean, I read a statistic that people would rather 10% of all people that buy a home would rather spend the whole time in jail than have to move. It's so stressful to move.
Wow. Although they do feed you there.
Yes, not very well, but everybody gets to see you go to the bathroom. Is that a problem?
I mean, there are worse things. There are worse things. That's fine. That's fine.
I always wondered, if you're in jail and you're locked up and you run out of toilet paper, what do you do?
You just yell out, "Hey, can you pass the square or two?" And we digress, as we always do. Hey, if you've been enjoying the podcast thus far, please give us a like and maybe even a follow. We would love your support. But back to mortgage talk. I think for first time homebuyers today, I think it's really important for them to realize that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay that your family helps you with a gift for the down payment. It's okay that you don't have 20%.
Correct.
It's okay if the rate is higher because you're not going to keep it.
Correct.
I think you need to just kind of be more prepared and be more worried about the conditions of your bank statements, for example, making sure they're clean. You don't have any large deposits in there that you can't source or anything funky, your pay stubs, making sure all that is in order. I think these are the important things. And like your credit score.
Absolutely. Credit score. And again, I think one of the most important things is if you're not prepared and you don't know what to do, is get in touch with your local mortgage broker or mortgage banker, and somebody that's not doing mortgage planning for you isn't doing you any justice. If they're just quoting you a rate and moving on, that means nothing, especially during the pre-approval process. Rate means absolutely nothing.
And there are some things you just can't Google.
No, you have to actually pick up the phone and talk to us.
You can't rely on Google for this.
Yeah.
That's a big takeaway in this whole conversation is to make sure that you have yourself prepared and you're never too early to be prepared. Because sometimes some things take time to fix. Like your credit score, it's not something that you can fix immediately. It may take time for you to fix it. So, if you think that you want to buy, like start now and get yourself all the information that you can and speak to somebody.
Well, I think that accomplishes two things. Number one, it gives you an idea of what you can afford on a monthly basis and what you're comfortable paying on a monthly basis. Number one. And number two, it puts you in a better negotiating situation, because you're not going to get emotionally tied to something if you can't afford it, or if you don't, if you know it's way, way above your means. I would love a Rolls Royce, but I can't afford one.
How about a Buick?
I love Buicks.
Yeah, you can do a Buick.
I could do a Buick. I've had a couple of Buick Regals.
I think also people need to remember you can't start off with the end. They call them starter homes for a reason.
Some of the starter homes are nice, though. I mean, my house was a starter home when I first bought it. It was small, but
A lot of people start off with starter homes and the idea is, oh, we'll start here. When we grow a family, we will upgrade. And how many people end up staying?
I would say 90% of people don't stay in that first home. I would say 90%. Very few people do. I mean, even people that are wealthy and their family's wealthy and buy them a home, which is very, very uncommon, they still don't stay either.
There's always a reason.
Houses turn, no matter what. And if you lose a house, and I think when I burnt my first house, the thing I remember the most about it was losing like I made 5 different offers on 5 different homes and lost every single one of them before I got to the right home, you know,
Wow.
which was crazy. And that was 1986. That was a long time ago.
1986, I think I was still chasing boys around in the schoolyard.
Were you even alive yet?
No, I was. I was alive. I was 12.
Yeah. I was 26. I think. I can't remember that.
That's what I love hearing. I love hearing about the history
Oh, it was crazy.
of the old days.
Well, it was funny because the mortgage business come full circle because when I first got in the mortgage business, it was so strict, almost like it is today. And then it went from that to like if you could fog up a mirror, you could get a loan. And then it got strict again. And it's still fairly strict today. So, after the crash in 2007 and 8.
Yeah, I remember when I first started working for you.
Yeah.
It was 2002, I think. Was it
Two or
2002?
three, I can't remember. I think you're right. Yeah.
And people were able to buy a home with no money down. The bank also gave them $500 cash, and you get a key to this huge house. And then when they foreclosed on it, nobody understood why. I mean, that we digress again into a different story, but yeah, that was just crazy days, crazy days.
Again, if you're in front of the right mortgage person, they're going to tell you the truth, which is, you know what, this is really pushing your outer limits, unless, I mean, most people aren't like doctors who go from making, as a resident, making 100 grand a year, then they get assigned to a hospital and now they make 300 grand a year. I mean, most people are going to get 5 to 10% pay increases per year. And if you're self-employed, that's a whole different ballgame, depending on the age of your business, what type of business. And
Some people will never get to that $100,000 a year in their lifetime.
so what's the tip of the day, Mona?
I think our tip of the day today is to make sure that you prepare, and it's never too early to prepare. Um, just knowing, arm yourself with all the ammunition that you can, which would be knowledge, um, and go from there.
Yeah, and I think you also too, you've got to deal with a mortgage person that is able to talk in your language.
Yes,
Like I couldn't go into a room of a bunch of dentists and understand what they're saying, or a bunch of electricians. So mortgage people tend to be they talk in acronyms, they talk, and it's all mortgage speak. So you really,
yes.
because it is going to be the biggest investment of your life for 99% of us. So make sure you completely understand.
You gotta be able to real talk and don't talk to us. And if somebody's just blowing smoke and telling you what you want to hear, then that's not the person for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think? We pretty much ready to wrap this one up? Or
I think so. We're done.
yeah, I'm kind of low energy today. I don't know if I'm liking it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There are bits of it I think that was good.
yeah.
Do you think you do you think you need a script?
Like
Oh
a
no.
script for what? More marijuana?
Me- I thought you don't need a script for that anymore.
So we really appreciate you listening and tell your friends because we'd really like this podcast to grow.
We love talking about real estate, we love talking about mortgages, and we love talking about real life. If there's anything that you haven't heard yet, or if you have any question about something you've heard, drop us a note. Hello at homebuyinguncensored.com. Talk to you soon.